So dad day and one on the edge of being sick, kind of recovering actually. But we've put up our first two boards of siding here. It is the first of three that are on this side. And what we're going to be doing is we're actually going to have one that runs, I believe, under the windows and one that runs over the windows up to the soffit and all on that second floor. The other option, which we might do, is have the band board run over the top of those and over the top of those. And then that upper floor is all going to be board and batten, and I think we have the sheets to do it either way and the batten length to do it either way once those arrive. So kind of an open question. Clarky is digging for rocks under the ladder here, always a good thing, but these are going to be for that upper floor area. It's a mesh. It's a not a membrane, but a mesh, and it allows air and water to pass through. Especially required on that upper floor, upper area where we're going to have our battens and board in vertical in order to give a drainage and airplane, a plane for air, not an airplane. Hopefully the house doesn't fly off, but for these guys, for our 16-inch wide vertical boards, we're just going to cut those up into like 4-inch wide strips, and then if we do them down here, they'll go vertical, and when we put them up there, they're going to go horizontal. I am losing my voice pretty good here. That's why I didn't film this. Not because, honestly, I just didn't feel like being filmed. I'm in my scuzzies today. The only thing that I'm going to show you here is that these straps do make this a little bit more of a pain, especially when this one was a little bit bowed outwards, and I should have corrected that beforehand. I will the rest of them in the middle there, and it made it pushing this in a little bit hard. So I'm spending some time today figuring out a couple of pickles, in part because the siding order is more messed up than I thought. It's going to take more time for them to fix it, and so I might as well order any missing parts I can figure I might need while I'm at it. And yeah, so the level is telling you the story here. The top of the window to the door, they don't match up. So this door is taller. It's a full 8-foot, true 8-foot height. And when I was initially looking into that, we were looking at a different door, and the rough open was slightly different. It's because those windows, I framed them wrong. What I ended up doing is I ended up coming down 3/4 of an inch off of the beams on those, and there's probably a video showing, that's that way on the inside. And I should have added that to the bottom instead. I'm going to take this board and treat it, and I think the picture actually, like the design actually did this too. It's about 7.5 inches when you include the spacing for the window and the spacing for the reveal on the door right there. So I'm going to take that out of one of our band boards, one of our great big boards, and just run that up. And then there's a band board that's going to come up and take up most of this top space, and I'm going to have it set where it's going to set relative to the window, and then cut in. And I was trying to decide right here at the door cut in or over here at the window cut in. So that issue just really kind of underscores that everything you do at the framing stage has an impact at the finish stage. I wish that I had thought about that, and then I might have been, if these had been up that 3/4 inches, I might have been able to fudge, maybe a 1/16 more of a gap here, then it would match up. I think it would still be off by a little bit, and maybe this will actually look better. I don't know. A tiny amount of difference is possibly worse than, enough to just be clear that it's a cut in. I feel better in the middle of the day than I did earlier in the day, and so I've been doing some things throughout the morning, and as they get better, I've decided to do some mental stuff. But this morning what I did is I just put in the required venting for the space. This is the utility and the dining. And essentially I had to go every other one of those blocks to get enough square inches of vent to match the roof And then this cut in at the top is about 1.5 inches. And that more than suffices for this whole roof area, even if they for some reason wanted to, have me open this up a little more and get air from that outside non-finished, non-insulated area up over the top and into this space. Even if it's venting up through there too, which I don't know yet whether it will be. I got to call the county if they have an opinion. If not, I'm not gonna have it connected. But if it's got a vent up into there, that will still be enough because it's just that much. It's not that much square footage of a roof. So what they do is they say you got to have enough airflow, and to get enough airflow in these holes, you got to have enough holes of a certain size, and you can either do that by 3s or 4s. But they're in our plan, they're calling for the holes to be 2 and basically 1/4 inch, 2 5/16, I think. And they figure it either as 3 holes or 4 holes. And I just did 3, and it's actually a little bit overkill to have 6. It was like 5.5 of these needed to be vented for this space. Now, obviously, I put in screens at the same time on those, and we're going to have a vented soffit. We have the vented soffit. It's just got to get buzzed to fit the exact rafter size and then put up into place. But I kind of buried that under a bunch of trim. I didn't feel like moving it, so I moved on to the other project. So we're gonna do all of the upper trim, right? So we can use the lift on this side down here. Here's the road, so we have some more space. We can use it to help put on the main sheathing for this side of the roof. We can then use it to put on this trim, the peak, put the peak trim on, and then I can get off of the building, which is kind of a big deal. And then all of this sheathing, and then this roof up here, that roof we're going to put on, and do all of that work off of the lift as well. And, so we have a month's worth of work on my 4-day weeks. And on the off days, my parents have some projects they'd like to use it for. So we have a lot that we need done, but it's like $2,000 to get that lift. I think it was 18 and change. So it's a lot of money, and we don't want to have to rent it twice. Unfortunately, unlike the metal roof where it was quantities that were wrong and the stuff that was wrong, like I said, technically that's fortunate because there's only one issue. These are all wrong. These are the wrong sizes. All of the trim boards are the wrong sizes. And it's a 1.5 inch batten, and we have a big house, and it's just not what we wanted. We wanted 2.5, and we went back, and the order even says it. So they just shipped the wrong thing. So we're going to make them fix that and get us what we're supposed to have. And I'm trying to get it done as soon as they possibly can. But, that just means yet another delay. So I'm working on what I can. I can't start that. I still don't have the corners. I could build the corners. I mean, I guess I could build the corners out of these. I don't want to because they're so narrow. I'd like to have that inside corner be just a little bit larger. And we have 2 sizes here. Those are 440s, so they're 5/8 inch or something, 3/4. These are 540s, so they're just shy of an inch. And then there's more 440s. So you're supposed to use on the big lap siding like we have, you're supposed to use the 540s only. And so I'd be using, I'd be taking one of these and putting it up, and then if I want it to be the same reveal on one side as on the other side, when you sandwich these together into an L shape, I'd have to rip one of them down, and it's super stupid and fiddly, and I don't want to do it. Essentially with this board here, what we're going to do is we're going to start this corner. I don't have this piece cut yet, but I'm going to start this corner here, and then we'll install this one into it. Now, I do need to make sure that I have the proper spacing. So I've given myself 3/8 inch off of the tray on the bottom and a 1/4 inch off of where the roof ceiling sheathing is going to sit. And then that'll all end up probably, I may end up, when I go and put in the boards for the actual ceiling, I may end up cutting this out. I don't know, we'll have to see what that looks like, but easy enough to do down the road. So for the time being, we'll just get it up 3/8 inch off of the tray down there. So this is a 1/4 inch on a speed square. So if I have it just basically not contacting this, that should give me my 3/8. Too short. This little guy here is in the way. He's only about 7/8 or maybe even less off of that wall up in there. So got to get him out of the way, and then I'll recut the hole when we're all done and put him back. But for now, time to move, little guy. Yeah. Oh yeah, it feels great. I think that will stay long enough for me to get over there and deal with that side. Please be a good board. Above windows are actually calling for 3/8 of an inch gap, so I feel a little more comfortable with that. It says minimum 3/8. We're probably at 3/8 minus the little bitty corners where I had it at 1/4. So I'm going to leave it as it is there. It says don't caulk it. You can see the zip flash behind it and makes it look dark. So I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'll try and get some paint back up in there or something, but I know why. It's because the zip tape is the head flash, and they want you to have a flash under at the top of the window as well as a flash over the top of the board. Obviously in here, I'm probably not going to do a flash up there. It doesn't make sense to me. It is just going to butt against the ceiling. But that is the flashing for the windows. So 3/16 on the sides, yes, but the installation actually calls for 3/8 up there on the top. So it's gonna be good. So the first thing that we have is we've measured in to account for our corner board right here at the side, so that we have a line there, and then we've got a line coming across to tell us how far up we are going with the band board. And then I've got some boards down here. I think that one will be about right for me to be able to brace this, which is what I'm doing. I'm going to brace it on that end. I'll come over here, get it just right, and then that should allow us to, get this set, start nailing this side, check and make sure it's level, and then nail to the other side. I have a helper now because the boys were in the mood to be in the area. So Casey's out. We're going to lift it and kind of get it over to where she wants it to be. Can you hold it for a minute while we check the level? You got to hold it for a little bit? You good? All right. So she's got the speed square, and that'll give us our standoff from the other board. A little more than 3/16, but on a long board like this, it's not going to hurt you. And we're going to check level and see how we're doing. Right there. That looks remarkably good. Very, very, very close. What, 112 and 3/4.
I don't know, walk the driveway, look for sticks.
Okay. Ooh, I'm high.
So you need to push it my way.
I can tell right now I'm high. Yeah, this says this side needs to come down. That says now I'm a little bit low. You're not quite on your mark either, but if it's low, I can get it to the right spot and nail it. You're afraid I'm gonna shoot you?
No, it hurts my ears.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll let you get down now before I continue.
Okay.
I'm in line of fire.
I know I was hoping I would have brought my earplugs down.
Yeah, safety first, Casey. I'm gonna cut out for the door, and then the door trim piece will simply come up to that height. So the door trim on the sides, the side trim of that door will not be at the same height as the corner at the top. And I think that's gonna look the best, provided I get this cut right. And I'm basically gonna have to buzz 11/16 off of one of these 11 1/4 inch wide band boards in order to make that just right to the, it's like a 3/8 reveal is what I've chosen for these big doors. And here we go. Well, like a noob that I am, I way overcut this because my saw blade is really far down. And it, I should have raised it all the way up so that it was more accurate from the backside to seeing the face. Because I didn't take the time to extend these out this way and clamp from this side to be able to make that as a face cut. So there's that. However, everything else about this board is in good shape. And, we're pretty much right where I wanted to be at 10 1/4, maybe a touch less. Yeah, that's really close. So, did I mention I'm not a finished carpenter? Hopefully by the time the house is done, I could be. We'll see. So wouldn't you know that I decided not to film this one because I didn't want my phone in the sun, and because the last one did not go as great as I had hoped. This one came out pretty good. This is just an inset though. No tricks or anything like that to it. It's got to sit over this window here, and then on top of most of these windows, there'll be a piece here at the end, and then just butt into a corner down at the end there. This one, because it was in the middle like that instead of on the end, I went ahead and used the circ saw, which I was afraid to do the first time because I figured, I'll mess up the cut. And I had a nice clean cut on that table saw for sure, but I still messed up. And I didn't mess up with the circ saw as far as I can tell, so next time maybe I'll do that. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more.
And see you next time.